Castro here. I just wanted to give an update on the storm that's going to be impacting the area tomorrow and into tomorrow night. It's a really complicated system, an absolute pain to forecast. Like, these are our least favorite setups to try to have to deal with when you know you're going to have snow, you know you're going to have a lot of rain, and right in the middle could be a little bit of everything. And that rain-snow line is also going to be migrating over the course of the storm, so it's not like it just stays consistent. So a lot of moving parts with this. And I was saying it yesterday, if you remember back a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago exactly, to Winter Storm Daisy. It's a similar setup, but I think there are some key differences to that. So let's just jump into this. Now, there's not a lot going on right now. It's actually pretty sunny. I'm taking a look at our Lambo cam. It's beautiful sunrise. I'm about 13 hours too late on that. Sunset, it's beautiful sunset right now this evening. This storm is going to be starting, well, I would say today technically, but later overnight we're going to see some rain showers start, but mostly we're going to see rain from this. That's what most locations are going to get. That rain is going to change over to snow for everyone late in the afternoon and on into the evening. Now, there will be much higher snow totals over far northwestern sections of our area. Forest, Florence, Langlade counties, those spots, because most of that precip is going to fall as snow. There's really not much of a transition to happen. But for the rest of us, the fact that it starts as rain, changes over to snow, that's going to really hamper how much snow that ends up piling up and sticking on the ground. And everyone's going to be dealing with wind gusts up to around 40 miles per hour, maybe even a touch higher than that. I think especially in a window from around 4 o'clock until 10 o'clock at night. It's going to be really windy later in the day tomorrow. So here's a little breakdown of that. During the day Wednesday, most spots are just dealing with rain and wind. You get far enough northwest, and I mean way northwest, up to Anago, Crandon, Florence, Iron Mountain, those spots, or Niagara, I should say, those areas likely dealing with mostly snow throughout the day. But by 4 o'clock Wednesday, I think areas just northwest of the Fox Valley will have transitioned to snow, talking along a line from around Waupaca, up into Shawano, up into Wausaukee from there, Wausaukee, Crivets area. That arc is going to have transitioned to snow most likely, or at the very least be in the process of it. And then what we're going to see, I think between 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock, the Fox Valley and the Lakeshore start to transition over from rain to snow. The Lakeshore might take a little bit longer, especially down into Manitowoc and Sheboygan counties, but we are going to eventually all see snow from the storm system. So this is kind of a map that traces that out. Again, almost all snow as you get up through Wausau, Anago, Crandon, up into Iron Mountain. That's basically all you're going to see, and it's going to be a heavy, wet snow. When you factor in the fact that we're going to see 40-mile-an-hour winds with that wet, heavy snow, would not be shocked if we're seeing some power outages from some limbs getting knocked down. It's just too much for trees to handle sometimes. Now, as you start to get into this little stripe here, talking with Waupaca County, into Shawano County, Menominee, most of Oconto and Marinette counties, this little stripe, we're going to see that rain changing over to snow by the early afternoon. So that's why I'm saying by 4 o'clock, most of those locations will have changed over to snow. But it's not an immediate changeover, and that snow is also falling on wet ground. So remember back to Winter Storm Daisy, even though that snow started in the morning, it took a while for that snow to actually start to stick to the ground and for everything not to just melt as soon as it hit the surface. And then as we work into the evening, that's when I think that rain finally changes over to snow for Greenbay, Fox Cities, out to the Lakeshore. So that's really going to limit our totals in terms of what we see. So here's a look at our future track. Got a lot of clouds on the way tonight. This model has not wanted to put down much in the way of any rain late tonight and into tomorrow morning. I do think there's going to be some spotty showers around early tomorrow morning, but this is when the bulk of the precipitation arrives, late morning into the middle of the day. Look at all that rain. And yeah, all those reds and oranges popping up. There could be some embedded thunder. Wouldn't be shocked if you're hearing some rumbles at times. But if you notice, this is 12 o'clock. Boom, Wausau, Anago, into Forest and Florence counties, just starting as snow and staying as snow there. But watch what happens in the afternoon. You see this little stripe of pink? That's where that rain snow line is. That just starts to drop off to the south and east a little bit. So by 4 o'clock, what was I saying? Into areas like Waushara County, Waupaca County, Shawano, into central Oconto County, into Marinette. That's when that rain changeover starts to happen there. Still rain through Greenbay and the Fox Valley out to the Lakeshore, and then that changeover happens through the rest of the evening and on into the night, and we wrap up the storm system with snow. I think there's still some out there midnight, but it's starting to depart the area, and then it's gone by the time we reach Thursday. So in terms of how much snow we see, there are going to be some pockets of some very impressive totals, up over 6 inches, running from Iron Mountain into Anago, Wausau, stretching back out to near La Crosse. That stripe really going to be seeing a ton of that wet, heavy snow. But as you start to get into Shawano, into Marinette, maybe a slushy couple of inches there, up to 2-3 inches. And I think for Greenbay and the Fox Valley out to the lakeshore, I know there are some 2 to 4s technically popping up here. I really think it's more like going to be in the 1 to 2 inch neighborhood for most spots around our population centers. And it's a slushy accumulation because, again, a lot of that stuff is melting as it hits the surface. So that's what we end up seeing. And I think that's reflected in where the winter storm warnings are issued. So you see all those counties in pink where the winter storm warnings are. That's where the heaviest of the snow is going to fall. There's a little border of winter weather advisories where those amounts drop off very sharply. There could be a difference from northern Marinette County to Marinette itself of 10 inches of snow. If they hit some of the higher totals there versus where you're seeing down along the bay there. So some really impressive spreads. I also think there could be a big gradient between western Shawano County and areas of Shawano County kind of near Pulaski where you get near Brown County. Similar story with Oconto County. So really sharp gradients where you see that cutoff. And there are blizzard warnings in effect through portions of Minnesota, into Iowa, Nebraska, into Kansas and Colorado. So it's a really powerful storm that's going to be working its way on through. And the blizzard warnings are because of the winds. It's going to be windy all across the Midwest into the Plain States. So those wind gusts tomorrow morning are already going to be up around 30 miles per hour. Anything you see in yellow, those are 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And as you start to get that coloration into the oranges and reds, you're talking 40-mile-an-hour winds. So as we get into the afternoon, you're starting to see some of the pockets of oranges popping up, especially as we get into the afternoon. Look at this. That's why I'm saying there's that time in the evening where we'll really see those winds crank up, talking winds frequently up around 40 miles per hour all across the area. Those winds are going to be whipping tomorrow evening as that snow starts to fall. It stays very windy overnight, and Thursday eventually we start to see that wind kind of backing off over the course of the afternoon. So just a really, really complicated setup. Storm's not here yet though. It's pretty quiet. We had a lot of high thin clouds, a lot of precipitation evaporating before it hit the ground, but that storm center itself is still way back out, exiting Colorado. It's just now starting to get out of the Rockies and on out into the Central Plains. So it's still got a little ways to get here. Some things could move. If we see that storm track wiggle even just a little bit, talking like less than 50 miles, it could make a big impact on the kind of storm that we're seeing with this. Have we gotten any questions at all or any comments so far from this? No? Okay. All right. Well, I just wanted to give an update on the storm. I'm just going to back this all the way up to kind of the bottom line here, is that most of us end up seeing pretty much rain from this system. So it's going to be rain for most of us. Snow far northwest. It changes to snow by the late afternoon and evening, and the higher snow totals are going to stay over far northwestern sections. So we're going to have the latest coming up here on the Fox 11 News at 9. Pete Petoniak is going to have updates tomorrow morning, and then obviously we'll be covering the storm over the course of tomorrow afternoon. I believe meteorologist Audrey Lee is going to be out in the storm chaser tomorrow trying to check out some of those spots where that rain is changing to snow. So again, Fox 11 is your source for severe weather coverage, and we will keep you informed. Thanks a lot.